So today we're going to do something different. Today we're going to do a top 10 list. Now, of course, this is something new, so I just want to see how it goes. I've never done something like this. I don't even know if I'm going to have enough time to get through everyone I want to and talk as much as I want about them. But before we get into this video, as always, please people, just subscribe. And if this is your first time and you're new to this channel, I do leave some spoiler warnings for those of you who are not up to date. So you can check that out for this video and check that out for all my videos so you can watch without being spoiled, because I know what it's like to not be up to date and be worried about spoilers. Now, before I tackle this top 10 list, there are some honorable mentions that I have to get out of the way first. Number 1 is Magellan, the former warden of Impel Down. Number 2, we have Kid and the Kid Pirates. And last but not least, number 3 are Zoro's dumbbells, because the training Zoro gets with that is sorely underrated indeed. But let's get to the real top 10 of this video. Now, Shadow Snack, as a former Sweet Commander, was demoted after his loss to Rouge, the Mad Monk, and he became just a regular kind of officer on Big Mom's crew. But before he did that, he was considered one of the 4 strongest, Big Mom pirates outside of Big Mom herself. And that means he was considered above people like Prospero, Oven, Daifuku. But I feel after the events of Whole Cake Island, a lot of people don't view him as on their level quite, no, not really anymore. I understand on one hand why people don't really rate her that high, because her Devil Fruit is not really attack based, it's not really used for attacks, it's more of those other kinds of stuff. But on the other hand, it is OP. And I know that some people will be like, yeah, maybe if you have strong enough haki, it doesn't affect you, but that's not something we really know. And on top of that, there's more to beating people and progressing to reach your goals than just being able to take someone one-on-one in a empty field, let's charge at each other, right? There's stuff where you can sneak around and pull out, assassinate people. There's stuff where you can just avoid being opportunist like Blackbeard, where you see the best opportunity for yourself and you just jump in. And Drew Bunny is perfectly capable of all that. At the very least, it was mentioned when they reached Sabaody that all these supernova had similar journeys to the Straw Hats to get to where they arrived. So that means that Jury Bonnie did go through similar, struggles. Maybe not as hard as these Straw Hats, but similar struggles nonetheless to make it to Sabaody. And I think that needs to be respected just a little bit. And I think Franky and the whole technology thing has to be respected a bit more, although it is vague how that works and what technology is useful against all these powers, Devil Fruits, haki. I think technology is still useful because at the end of the day, Vegapunk kind of figured out what Devil Fruits are essentially, right? He kind of made some tie between Devil Fruits and technology. We've seen it with, his failed fruit for that Momo ate. We've seen it with the smiles and how that's connected. And so you have to figure that technology is really important, and Franky understanding and using this makes him really important. So maybe he won't go through training like, Luffy, Zoro. Maybe he won't go through battles like Brook, but he will get technology which will improve him and make him much stronger. At this point, he's basically a better version of a pacifista, you got to figure, right? Because he did manage to put those lasers, which were described as being basically Kizaru's laser. So he has kind of a Devil Fruit infused in himself already. And he can do that for several other things as well. Maybe add magnetism to himself, be like Kid as well, and just have multiple Devil Fruits essentially. That could be Franky in the future. So I think we need to put a little bit of respect on Franky and technology. On the other hand, we have a different Straw Hat at number 7, Tony Chopper, who, unfortunately, a lot of people don't rate him, and he is the last person on a lot of people's Straw Hat list, or people they care about and people that they just like. Now, Tony Chopper has, I think I understand some of the whole arguments of, he's just there to be for marketing essentially, to look cute and all that kind of stuff, to sell toys and everything. And I get that issue. I understand that issue, but let us not let that issue stand in in the way of just how great Tony Chopper is. On one strength, he has his strength feats, which he has pulled, showing his monster point pre-time skip and showing just his basic ability to fight and keep going, right? At the end of the day, he is a Zoan of an animal, right? He's essentially an animal that ate a Zoan of an animal, so he's got that kind of power and endurance twofold already, even without much training. And then now he's received training, but then also he has his monster point, you know, an opponent in CP9, I forgot what's his name, the owl dude who Franky fought and had some trouble with. You know, once Chopper went to monster point, he defeated a guy stronger than that really easy. Now he has control over that kind of transformation. I mean, it's no wonder why in Whole Cake Island he was like blocking Big Mom's attack. And then on the other side, he's just incredible with medicine and drugs. He, you know, Punk Hazard, let's talk about that, right? He helped the kids, helped stabilize them with law. You know, going into Wano, he's done, you know, the whole thing with that disease when Big Mom broke in and that thing that was spreading, Luffy was gonna die. He helped him there. Then recently we have the whole thing where it's like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to you know, find the antibodies for Queen's Plague, you know, this ice demon thing, you know, before the time runs out in the middle of this war. And yeah, like the way he said it, he implied that basically because we're in the middle of a battle and there's this whole hundreds and thousands of people, it's not going to be possible. But he did kind of, you know, on the other hand, it kind of just leaves room to recognize that if they were not in the middle of a battle and it was just a few people, he would be able to find an antidote in time for a disease he's never seen, right? So that in itself is crazy level of just doctor skills, right? Tony Chopper should get the Ope-Ope-no-Mi. Now, I think the Vice Admirals are a class that was kind of skipped as far as Pirates versus Marines, because we've seen the Straw Hats fight, you know, captains, commodores, try to fight admirals, fight people lower ranking than captains, and we've seen how that's gone. But Vice Admirals is one that we haven't really seen. Pre-time skip, you know, Garp was the only Vice Admiral the Straw Hats ever tried to fight, really. And then we just came back and now we've just kind of skipped past them because Drake, when he defected, was a rear admiral, you know. So around Sabaody, Drake was, you know, rear admiral compared to the rest of the supernovas. So the rest of them, including Luffy and Zoro, probably around the level of rear admirals. So now they've come back and now we're getting ready to fight against admirals, Yonko and all that. So we kind of left the Vice Admirals. But Vice Admirals, you have to figure, these guys learned Roku Shiki. Some of them have devil fruits. Some of them are great swordsmen in themselves without, you know, anything else, without displaying any other feats. And to have all these things, right? These guys are incredible haki users, right? Just, you know, maybe a bit shy of actual admirals, but these guys are incredible haki users. You have to figure the Vice Admirals are more than the Admirals and they go out more into the world. So the peace of the world is more kept by the Vice Admirals than it is the actual Admirals. Because Admirals are not mobilized that often, but Vice Admirals are. So Vice Admirals, I feel, are just something that's been, you know, kind of forgotten. And, you know, for a lot of the characters that we try to power scale and try to see how strong they are probably just as strong as Vice Admirals at this point in the story, right? Because some characters, we know they're not as strong as Admirals, but, you know, they may get there. So how strong are they really? Probably as strong as Vice Admirals. The man, the myth, the legend, God NL, right? And I know you're wondering why I say NL is underrated, even though he's so incredible. And I'll tell you straight up, number one is because he has lightning, right? This is, if you ask me what power I would want to have, doesn't matter whether I'm in One Piece or any other series, lightning all the way. Electricity, lightning, thunder, that whole, yes. But also NL, I think a lot of people started to downplay NL's strength when Oda came out and said that, look, if NL's in the Blue Sea, he'd probably have a bounty of 500 million. Now, of course, people look at that and be like, yeah, compared to what we're seeing now, billions and everything is not that much. But keep in mind, this was back in the time skip where, you know, a lot of bounties were lower than, you know, they would have been if characters were introduced now. I mean, think about it as well, the fact that, you know, that was a bit similar to Ace and how much stronger Ace was than Luffy, you know. But also, looking at NL as a whole, NL, we don't even know the ceiling of NL's power. Like, as far as, because Luffy was a natural enemy to NL, but to see someone who make NL go all out to try and beat Luffy we're not even sure how much power Enel had. I mean, think about it like this. I'm pretty sure you could liken Enel and the Arc Maxim to any, honestly, like almost to any ancient weapon. Right? Because ancient weapon, right? Poseidon, who is what's her name from the mermaid, Shirahoshi, right? She has the power to, you know, command sea kings, and that is a terrifying power, right? But then think about the fact that Enel with the Arc Maxim can destroy islands in literal moments. He can obliterate anything he desires with the Arc Maxim because that helps him, you know, channel his power. And that could honestly, if someone revealed that, like, Enel's Devil Fruit along with the blueprints for some ship was Pluton or was Uranus, I would not be surprised, right? Maybe there was in the past, there was a ship that ate Enel's Devil Fruit and that became, you know, Pluton in itself, or that became Uranus. That would not surprise me, honestly. And now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably what I want to happen. But Enel in himself is a crazy level of, like, overpowered, right? And if he gained even a bit of, you know, armament haki, it's game over for most people. Enel coming back into the story with the automata. Enel coming back into the story with those guys is just beyond. It's just absolutely beyond. Garp Chujo. Garp is an old man. And, you know, we all recognize this. As a man who is older than Whitebeard himself, Garp has, you know, decreased in strength considerably from, you know, his prime days. But Garp is still, you know, essentially one of the strongest characters in the One Piece world. If you make a kind of top 30 or something list, he is still one of the strongest. Garp, on the other hand, was someone who was the first to pull a classic Yonko level feat. You know, because Yonkos have this kind of indestructibility about them, the ability to you know, tank all these heavy attacks and come back like nothing happened. You know, we've seen it with Kaido. Loads of people have tried to attack him and he shakes off the attacks. Big Mom is described as an iron ball. Whitebeard, you know, we've seen Ace try to destroy Whitebeard a bunch of times. We saw how much Whitebeard took during the wall and he just kept going. But back in chapter 104, right, the cover story where Garp is introduced, we didn't know he was Luffy's grandfather at this time. He was introduced, and you know, in this cover story, Morgans had just jumped over the ship, taken Helmeppo as a hostage, and he was trying to go away. And Garp wakes up and he's just like, oh, you know, what's going on? Then like everyone's looking at him and he's like, oh, Axe Hand escaped because I was sleeping. And we see while he was sleeping, what happens is that Axe Hand literally tried to chop Garp in half. But Garp, one, slept through that. So someone tried to cut him in half, he slept through it. Even though there was some blood coming out, he still woke up like nothing was wrong. These are feats that we see from Yonko level characters. I know people don't rate how strong Axe Hand Morgan is, but you have to figure with anyone else's regular body, regular human body, this would not be possible. Garp is literally the first person in the series to pull a feat of this magnitude. On the other hand, I need to talk about Garp and giving him more credit because now we talk about Shiki and just how powerful Shiki was. Now, of course, lots of stuff have gone wrong for Shiki in his life, but stuff that did go right and stuff that he did manage to pull off was essentially being the Yonko of his day. You know, gathering one of the biggest fleets. He fought against Roger in the Ed War, and you have to think about this. In that war, the storm that came and, you know, washed away half of Shiki's fleet, you know, also put that wheel in his head. So he was injured at the time. Half his fleet was gone. At a great disadvantage. Roger had the advantage at that point, and Roger still ran away. He still ran away from Shiki in that moment. So you have to figure that Shiki poses such a great threat that Roger, even after having gained such a big advantage, decided that, nope, I'm not going to fight Shiki, let's get out of here. So on top of that, Shiki was the first person that we found out to escape Impel Down many years back on his own. At the time when Magellan was in prison and someone even greater than Magellan ran the prison. He escaped by cutting off his own legs, and so he essentially escaped with no legs. How many people, can you imagine Big Mom trying to escape Impel Down with no legs on her feet? Or Kaido, I mean Kaido can fly, okay, but someone like Whitebeard trying to escape Impel Down with no legs. How many characters can you actually say would be able to escape Impel Down with no legs on? Shiki did that. Shiki did that. As one of the first people who was beaten, a lot of people don't really rate Crocodile. But I think that Crocodile is a perfect example of one of the first, low gear characters who relied too much on their devil fruit, right? This includes Smoker and Animal as well, but these guys relied too much on their devil fruit. But Smoker is nothing to scoff at. I mean, if we find out Smoker is awakened, it's no wonder, right? It's no surprise. In Impel Down, he turned the door to sand. People say that he dehydrated objects, but no. I'm pretty sure that when you dehydrate wood, it does not turn to sand. He turned the door to sand by touching it. He destroyed vegetation and turned it all to sand just by touching the ground. So Crocodile is on a whole different level. If that's not enough for you, right? In Marineford War, he was compared to Doflamingo. Now understand this. Doflamingo was a very good devil fruit user. Maybe awakened at the time. A great Haki user as well. But Crocodile, with only devil fruit power, was compared to someone with devil fruit, probably devil fruit awakening and Haki. Those three things, he was compared to him when he only has a devil fruit, possibly devil fruit awakening. And now in the post timescape, after realizing and seeing how, great these people are and how these guys have Haki, you think Crocodile's not going to come back into the story with Haki to show just how OP he is? Now, of course, the only thing that's bad about Crocodile is his weakness to water, but Crocodile is just OP. But anyway, let's get into our last and final character that, is underrated. And a lot of these guys have talked about power and how powerful they are and how we need to consider their power because, they just underrated in terms of power. But I think the last person has nothing to do with power. The last underrated person in the One Piece story is Buggy. Yes. And honestly, you could describe Buggy as Shanks, but without strength. Honestly. Maybe even superior to Shanks without strength. But Buggy is a peculiar character because Buggy, if you think about it, Buggy has awareness of himself. One, he knows he's weak. Buggy does not act strong. He's not like a lot of these pirates who think, oh, you think you can take me on or something like that, or I'm a Yonko or I have this status. Buggy, as much as he shouts, he knows deep down. When Ace came to aboard his ship, he's like, no, don't mess with Whitebeard. Don't do that. No, don't want to do that. Buggy has, used the system of the whole world to gain clout, to gain followers and all that. Buggy has such good negotiation skills because consider this. Hyrodine and the new, Elbaf warriors were with his delivery service. The Giants of Elbaf. How many years has Big Mom tried to get the Giants of Elbaf? How many years have the Marines been trying to convince the Giants of Elbaf to join them? Buggy got them in 2 years. In less than 2 years, Buggy got the Giants of Elbaf on his side. That is just how smart Buggy is as well. And you have to figure this. Buggy is, Luffy, after Marineford, after Sabaody, he realized, I don't have enough strength to attain my goal. I need to get stronger. He went a 2-year, time skip, hiatus, from being a pirate, trained himself to become strong to achieve his goal. That's a natural response, right? But then you have Buggy. Buggy sailed with Roger. Buggy was at the Ed War with Shiki there. Possibly went to Whole Cake when Roger stole the poneglyph. Maybe he hasn't met Kaido, but Buggy knows Shanks, as he is now. Buggy was at Marineford War. He's met Whitebeard on several occasions. Buggy is one of the only characters to meet almost all top tiers in this world. But on the other hand, Buggy's never felt the need to become stronger himself. Just how, at the same time, Buggy is still making progress to achieving his goals. So Buggy has smarts and awareness beyond any other character in the story because he has no strength, but he still makes progress in the new world. But anyway, guys, this is just my top 10 list of characters who are underrated. And if you have characters who you disagree shouldn't have been on this list, if you have characters who you think are also underrated, if you have other top 10 videos for me to do, please let me know. Let me know how this one went as well. Let me know what I could improve, what I, could work on. And as always, guys, like the video if you like the video and subscribe for more. If you know someone who needs to hear the truth about these top 10 people, please share this video with them. If you have time, watch one more video. And if not, thank you for watching this video thus far, guys. This is King KZ. I'll see you in the next one.